Today, we're visiting a city where the charm is as thick as the humidity, and the history is as rich as the food. A place where low country culture meets a French Quarter that proudly takes second place to New Orleans. But at least it doesn't smell as bad. From cobblestone streets lined with live oak to stunning architecture that has stood the test of time, Charleston, South Carolina effortlessly blends the old with the new. Jacob here. Welcome to Destinations Explained, a fun series I do that dives into destinations from around the world. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and comment down below any places I missed. Before it became a destination for heritage enthusiasts, food lovers, and ghost tour aficionados, the Charleston area was inhabited by Native American tribes, primarily the Xiao. In the late 17th century, English settlers decided it was the perfect spot for a new colony. Charleston probably has the most detailed history in this country, so don't get insulted when I sum it all up in like 60 seconds. In the early days, Charleston was basically a pirate hotspot. The most famous of these was a visit from Blackbeard. Yes, that Blackbeard. Charleston's economy started booming thanks to the big three: rice, indigo, and cotton. This wealth, unfortunately, was built on the back of enslaved Africans, which the South was getting really good at doing. Fast forward to the American Revolutionary War, the siege of Charleston in 1780 was a significant British victory. But spoiler alert, the Americans eventually won the war. By 1790, it was the fourth largest city in the US, not far behind Boston, which is wild considering that Charleston doesn't even rank in the top 150 in population today. As tensions in the United States escalated over the issue of slavery, Charleston was once again in the thick of it. The first shots of the Civil War were fired at Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor in 1861. After the dust settled from the war, Charleston had to pick itself up and rebuild. Then, around the time World War II rolled around, Charleston turned into a big deal as a naval base. This boost from the Navy, along with the local shipyards, a growing medical scene, and loads of tourists, really helped Charleston's economy get back on its feet and thrive all through the 20th century. Today, Charleston has a population of around 150,000 people, with a total metro population of around 800,000. Summer temperatures average a high of 88 degrees Fahrenheit to an average low of 77 degrees Fahrenheit, while winter temperatures average a high of 57 degrees Fahrenheit to an average low of 43 degrees Fahrenheit. This is easily the least populated city I've covered on this channel, but Charleston just has so much to offer. From its historical significance, architectural beauty, and vibrant culinary scene. So let's see what it has in store. Kicking off the list at the city's southernmost point, you can take in just about everything I just described within a mile-long walk along Charleston's shoreline. With harbor views, beaches, and more, you'll get a real taste of South Carolina's vibe at the Charleston Waterfront. From White Point Garden to Joe Riley Waterfront Park, you can stroll past historic houses that grace the streets, shaded by century-old trees. Just a great place to spend a few hours and unwind. White Point Garden, nestled in downtown's historic district, offers respectable views of Fort Sumter and the Charleston Harbor. It's home to many historical events, showcasing Civil War cannons, monuments, and statues, with beautiful 300-year-old historic homes lining the street facing the gardens and water. Joe Riley Waterfront Park is renowned for its iconic pineapple fountain. Visitors can wander along the pier extending into the harbor, which is covered by a decorative gazebo. The waterfront is a cool spot to chill if you're looking to take a breather from all the downtown sightseeing. It's a nice change of pace from the most touristy stuff I'll be getting into. Chicago might be famous for Second City, pretty much the best place to catch live sketch comedy, but Charleston's got its own funny scene going on. A live comedy mystery theater where the audience is the star. Black Fedora Comedy Mystery Theater. The vibe is super cozy, with the cast right there on the floor with the audience, fully engaged. It feels really personal, like everyone's part of the show. The performances are lighthearted, comedic mysteries, often pulling in audience members, either volunteers or someone they've playfully picked out. Each show runs for about 2 hours, with tickets covering the performance itself. Desserts, appetizers, and drinks are available for purchase separately. Some current shows include Inspector No Clue's Murder Mystery Show, a madcap whodunit in the tradition of Clue, as well as Mac Black Ghost Detective, Murder at the Redneck Reunion, and Help, I Think My Characters Are Trying to Kill Me. Basically all similar murder mysteries guaranteed to make 2 hours fly by. Next up, around the block from Black Fedora, is Charleston's famous market, the city's top attraction. Dating back to the 1790s, this historic marketplace extends over 4 city blocks, featuring a series of one-story market sheds reminiscent of New Orleans' famous French market, Charleston City Market. Begin your visit in front of the Market Hall, a 200-year-old landmark housing some of the market shops and a museum. Continue through the sheds to shop around hundreds of entrepreneurs operating small businesses, from sweetgrass baskets to bags of stone-ground grits, and thousands of products in between. However, Market Street isn't just for shopping. It's surrounded with some awesome food and drink options that are worth a visit as well, like Church and Union, great for dining and cocktails in a former church with dramatic decor. There's Kaminsky's Dessert Cafe, a cafe serving desserts, milkshakes, and specialty coffees, or try out Hank's, one of the most popular seafood restaurants in Charleston. Staying around the French Quarter, across the street from Hank's, we have what is probably one of the best sightseeing tours in the country. If you like ghost stories, eerie dungeons, or pretty much the flip side of everything we've explored in the city so far, then Bulldog Tours is an undeniable favorite. They actually offer a lot of tours, from exploring the food scene to visiting historic homes, streets, and gardens. But if you had to pick one, you need to go on a ghost tour. The tour guides really know their stuff and share tales that are both fascinating and genuinely spooky. So expect some serious chills. The USS Yorktown tour offers exclusive nighttime access to an aircraft carrier from World War II. There's also the Haunted Jail, which has a memorable tour of the Old City Jail, which housed some of Charleston's most infamous criminals, 19th century pirates, and Civil War prisoners. The Graveyard Tour lets you into Charleston's oldest graveyards after dark, which freaks me out just thinking about it. And lastly, the Dungeon Tour, which journeys through the eerie, dark edges of Charleston's haunted historic district, exploring the Holy City streets, back alleyways, and churches. Lastly, we have one of the oldest plantations in the South, still privately owned under the same family after 15 generations. This plantation and gardens has been a go-to spot for visitors for over 100 years, making it one of the top tourist destinations in the South. Magnolia Plantation and Gardens. The real highlight here is the nature. From the educational tours to the alluring landscapes, there's a little something for everyone with lots of wildlife and flowers to see. With an admission ticket, you get to explore miles of trails, meander through 66 acres of breathtaking gardens, as well as a swamp garden, and even guided tours by train and boat for a deeper look at the plantation's grounds. And if you're drawn to the historic Magnolia house, you can check that out too with a separate ticket. There's several tours, including the From Slavery to Freedom tour, which honors and remembers the slaves who designed, planted, and worked in the gardens and basically everything on the plantation. I would also recommend the 5-mile loop around the site, where you can explore the Audubon Swamp Garden, Romantic Gardens, and Wildlife Center. Before we move into the next section, I just want to welcome all of you who are new here. I mostly just make city guides of fun things to do all around the world, and I've been doing it for over 4 years now. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who watches and shares my content. No, I'm not a lazy person. I have a full-time job and raise 2 kids, so I can only get so many videos out a year. I truly love making city guides, and I will continue as long as I can. So please subscribe and join my Discord if you want to reach out to me and get some travel advice and recommendations for your trip. Beginning our nature and recreational section of the video, you don't need to travel far to begin your adventure outside the city. Starting at one of the country's most iconic sites, with educational museums, ferry boat rides, and the chance to walk paths steeped in history, Fort Sumter is a must-visit in Charleston. 2 of the most notable forts stand at the entrance of Charleston Harbor. Fort Moultrie is accessible by car on the coast of Sullivan's Island. Fort Sumter is located in the middle of Charleston Harbor and is only accessible by 2 ferry routes through Fort Sumter Tours. At Liberty Square, you'll find Fort Sumter Visitor Center, museums, and an aquarium. all touristy spots worth visiting before you take the ferry ride to Fort Sumter. The second ferry across the river departs from the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, where the historic USS Yorktown is docked. It's another great area to explore before heading to the fort. So once you dock at Fort Sumter, you'll be walking on the very grounds where the American Civil War began. The small man-made island is beautiful and simple, allowing you to take it all in without needing much time. Enjoy 360-degree views of the harbor as the enthusiastic staff share the site's story and explain its importance. There's 3 reasons why tourists visit Charleston: food, history, and beaches. Known for its beautiful coastline and beaches, it can be hard to choose where to spend time when visiting. So let's break it down. The most southern spot I'd recommend is Seabrook Island, a private beach area often accessible to residents, renters, and guests. So if you're not important, I need you to unhear that. The main 4 would be Kiowa Island and Folly Beach, south of the bay, and Sullivan's Island and Isle of Palms, north of the bay. And then the 3 most northern islands being Deweese Island, Capers Island, and Bulls Island. Those are undeveloped and not even accessible by car. So it's perfect for people who want to camp on the beach and wake up next to a gator, I guess. So with all that summed up, if I had to recommend one, I'd choose Folly Beach. It's just a 20-minute drive straight south from downtown Charleston, home to a pier that stretches over 1,000 feet into the ocean, a main street lined with restaurants and souvenir shops, and at the end of the island, you can enjoy views of the Morris Island Lighthouse. Some restaurants I'd recommend would be Chico Feo, a fun outdoor Caribbean restaurant with lots of booze and tasty bites, or Jack of Cups Saloon, another beach vibe eatery with fusion plates and, again, lots of booze. Between the city and the beaches, you'll find rivers, marshes, and plenty of parks. If you're up for a quick nature escape just 20 minutes from Charleston, whether you're exploring solo, hanging out with friends, or spending time with the family, check out Palmetto Island's County Park. This 943-acre park offers scenic dirt, paved, and boardwalk trails that are perfect for walking, jogging, or biking. The Marsh Trail loops through the park in just under a mile, running along the creek. Along the way, you'll find bird watching spots, kayaking docks, and an observation tower where you can take in the views of the area. Keep an eye out for events happening, like the recent Palmetto Park Jam, with food, drinks, and live music. Charleston is well known for its plantations, and one of the most popular ones is right across the creek, Boone Plantation and Gardens. Established in 1681, it features captivating house tours, preserved slave quarters, stunning gardens, and ancient oak trees that have stood the test of time. The most efficient way to experience everything this site has to offer is likely the Plantation Tractor Tour, which covers all the top attractions. On the way back to the city, there's not much to see, so I'd recommend taking a quick detour off the highway to visit Haufbrau or Westbrook Brewing Company, especially if you're a beer lover like me. Next up, we've got what pretty much sums up the South. Swamps with the most draped trees, reptiles lurking in the water, and boat tours navigating through the wild landscape. This is an essential stop in Charleston, Cypress Gardens. This iconic location has been showcased in countless national magazines, hit TV shows, and blockbuster films like The Notebook and The Patriot. Open daily from 9 to 5, you can take it all in for just a small admission fee. Whether you choose to keep it simple with a stroll around the 3-mile loop through the swamp, enjoying the diverse flowers and wildlife, or grab a canoe and get up close to the century-old cypress trees, or sit back and relax as a local guide does the paddling for you, pointing out wildlife and sharing intriguing historical stories along the way. It's a perfect outing for families too, offering plenty of exciting exhibits like a butterfly house, a bird exhibit, and the swamparium, where you can get up close with the alligators and other reptiles. Alright, it's road trip time, and for our final stop, almost 2 hours away from Charleston, we're heading to the most visited national park in South Carolina. Though it's one of the more overlooked parks in the East Coast, that's just perfect for those of us who prefer to avoid the crowds. Congaree National Park. Despite being the most visited park in South Carolina, it's one of the least visited national parks in the US. So it's time to give some well-deserved attention to a hidden gem. At 26,000 acres, South Carolina's only national park protects the biggest stretch of old-growth bottomland hardwood forest left in the US and contains some of the tallest trees in the East. You'll discover around 25 miles of marked trails, including the popular Weston Lake Loop Trail next to the Visitor Center, which offers a scenic 5-mile loop around some of the park's most beautiful areas. If you prefer a shorter hike, you can just loop back via the boardwalk once you reach the lake, which is just over 2 miles total through the floodplain forest. Alright, it's time for the good stuff. Charleston's food scene is a blend of its cultural heritage, coastal influences, and signature southern charm. Trying to pick the best low country dish or southern comfort cuisine here is like debating the best pizza in New York. But if you're looking for a spot that nails it all, 82 Queen is where it's at. Jambalaya, shrimp and grits, and tomato pie are all great. But let's get real. The real star of the show is the crab soup, specifically the she crab soup. Sorry, he crabs, but you've got nothing on this Charleston classic. The menu is concise, so you really can't go wrong with anything you choose. Plus, whether you're dining inside the charming house-style eatery or enjoying the cozy courtyard, the atmosphere just adds to the experience. This stretch of Queen Street is packed with amazing spots to check out, from the soon-to-be-mentioned Bin 152, a late-night favorite, to the rival southern restaurants like Poogan's Porch and Husk right next door. It's a foodie's dream come true, with each place offering something truly special. Husk actually has 3 locations in the South, including the one I mentioned in my Nashville video. So if you ever plan to visit Tennessee, make sure to check it out. Moving from Queen Street to King Street, you'll discover an amazing Pakistani pop-up that's been making waves over the last few years. Now, with a year under their belt in their own brick-and-mortar spot, you can experience elevated Pakistani cuisine like never before. Ma'am Saab. Open for dinner Tuesdays through Saturdays, this spot is the perfect place to book a reservation, soak in the vibey atmosphere, and enjoy some truly amazing food. This is an elevated dining experience where the price of the main dishes is about double what you'd find at a strip mall spot in other cities. But considering this might be the only Pakistani restaurant in the state, they've decided to go all out, and it's worth every penny. There's a full bar with beer, wine, and creative cocktails, plus amazing appetizers to share with the table to kick things off. For the main course, you can't go wrong with something like the Bahari Kebab, or keep it simple with the crowd pleaser butter chicken, everyone's favorite South Asian dish. Now let's get back to a cuisine Charleston is famous for, Cambodian food. Seafood. This city is hands down one of the best places in the country to find amazing seafood. I have 2 spots to recommend, and they both end with Oyster Bar. Let's start with the Darling. Set in a beautifully restored 115-year-old storefront, be prepared to eat your weight in seafood while sipping an over-the-top Bloody Mary. You can savor oysters from the Carolinas all the way up to Prince Edward Island, served raw and ready, or baked and smothered in 3 rich saucy options. You'll also find other amazing things like their cold house-smoked salmon dip and hot fried shellfish, perfect for sharing. And wrapping it up with a fry basket and one of the best lobster rolls outside of Maine. Be sure to swing by for happy hour too and get some $1 oysters. And speaking of happy hours, the one at Rappahannock Oyster Bar is even better. About a dozen blocks away, this restaurant, market, and bar all rolled into one, tucked inside a 19th century cigar factory, is serving up even more oysters and hearty entrees. With indoor and outdoor dining options, as well as a 40-seat copper bar, you're more likely to snag a spot here without a reservation. Happy hour here offers deals on drinks, small plates, and oysters, and the menu offers amazing choices from the raw bar, along with casual seafood mains like po' boys and elevated dishes like mouth-watering crab cakes and shrimp and grits. Looking for breakfast, lunch, or brunch? This next spot nails everything I love about a neighborhood hangout. Small, low-key, and serving essentials like cheesecake French toast. You know, basic stuff. Daps. This laid-back, all-day breakfast spot offers some of the best pancakes you'll ever taste, along with all your favorites with a unique twist. They've got refreshing cocktails for a boozy brunch, and even rotating special cereal coffee drinks like a cinnamon toast crunch or fruity pebble latte. For food, standouts include the breakfast burrito stuffed with potato, chorizo gravy, cheese sauce, and hatch chili. And you can't go wrong with any of their flavorful hashes. But the sandwiches are probably my favorite, whether you're keeping it classic with their breakfast club or turning up the heat with the breakfast banh mi. You really can't miss. Charleston's culinary offerings, brimming with southern flair, are taken to another level by this standout next spot, offering a taste of West Africa with a touch of French influence. This intimate spot, led by a Senegalese chef, brings a refreshing diversity to the city's dining landscape. Bintü Atelier. The menu is designed for sharing, encouraging a communal dining experience that mirrors the warmth and hospitality of West African culture. Signature dishes include saka saka, a rich stew served with tender, satisfying fufu, and the chicken mafe, a comforting blend of flavors bathed in a creamy, nutty peanut sauce. And dessert is not to be missed. The baobab ice cream is a standout, offering a tangy, citrusy finish that perfectly caps off the meal. Beyond the food, Bintü Atelier is more than a restaurant. It's a cultural experience. A small market within the space sells art, merch, and books. You can even take home a jar of Nafi's hot pepper condiment, named after the chef's mother, allowing you to savor a bit of Bintü's charm in your own kitchen. For over a decade, this next spot has been serving up Asian comfort food and unique cocktails in a trendy converted gas station. So if you're craving rice and noodle dishes, along with other small bites bursting with flavor to cram into your face, then try out Xiao Bao Biscuit. Nothing says hip Asian fusion restaurant like a place that proudly flaunts the word biscuit in its name, yet serves not a single crumb of one. Yeah, I don't understand the name and I'm not gonna look it up, but here you'll find creative Asian culinary options that are much better than flaky carb pillows. The fan favorite is the okonomiyaki, a Japanese cabbage pancake topped with eggs, pork candy, and for just $3 more, you can add bacon and bonito flakes. They serve up fantastic stir fries like the pad kra pao with spicy Thai beef, basil, and veggies, or classics like the fancy boy rice and mapo tofu, both excellent rice dishes. While Texas is busy with their brisket and Kansas City goes crazy with their burnt ends, here in South Carolina, it's all about the pork. Whole hog, slow cooked, until it's so tender it practically melts in your mouth. And no place does it better than Rodney Scott's Barbecue. James Beard-winning pitmaster Rodney Scott has been smoking meats since he was 11, creating what has become a mecca for barbecue lovers from all over the country. They've got all the smoked meats you could ever want. Brisket, turkey, chicken, ribs, and of course, that mouth-watering pork. You can have it piled high on sandwiches or served up on plates, all drenched in that classic Carolina-style vinegary, peppery sauce we all crave. And don't forget the sides: collard greens, mac and cheese, and hush puppies that make the perfect pairing for every smoky, tender bite. If my brief rundown didn't just win you over right now, then just check out their episode on Chef's Table on Netflix about them, and that'll convince you. For coffee, let's head back to that cigar factory we mentioned earlier. Just across from the Oyster Bar, there's a cool coffee shop that opens early, which offers a mix of a bar, grocery, and a laid-back space to relax. Mercantile. This place is super spacious with plenty of spots to hang out, get work done, or enjoy an all-day breakfast like avocado toast and sandwiches, along with some classic lunch options. For coffee, they've got all the usual brews, plus some seasonal drinks, like the pineapple upside-down latte with cherry and brown sugar pineapple syrup, or the banafe brulee cappuccino with banana toffee syrup and turbinado brulee foam. Fancy! Heading back to the French Quarter, we've got an awesome dessert spot with all kinds of sweet gelato, sorbet, baked goods, you name it. They've also got coffee, sandwiches, pizza, wine, beer, and cocktails. Usually when a place tries to do it all, it doesn't work, but here they totally nail it. Carmella's Cafe. There's a good chance you'll be waiting in line to order here because it's just that good. They call it a dessert bar, but it's really a bar with desserts, which is super convenient because they can mix the two perfectly. Despite the crowd, it's a pretty chill spot where you can grab a seat at the bar or swing by the self-service counter for some amazing cannolis, delicious carrot cake, or thick, smooth gelato. Or even get your night started with some specialty cocktails like the espresso martini, chocolate martini, or my personal favorite, the thin mint martini, made with rum chata, creme de cacao, creme de menthe, and cream. Kicking off the bars and nightlife section, we've got a laid-back spot in the heart of downtown, Charleston's oldest and most respected wine bar. If you're into wine and you just want a calm spot to hang out and snack on charcuterie boards, then you should definitely check out Bin 152. They've got 40 different wines by the glass and over 200 by the bottle. Plus, they offer 40 kinds of cheese and charcuterie, all served a la carte with their freshly baked bread. The staff isn't just knowledgeable about the wine, they also know their cheeses inside and out. They can make spot-on recommendations based on your preferences. With big windows overlooking the busy King Street, it's the perfect spot to kick back and do some people watching. Switching to a similar vibe, but with a different menu, we've got another cozy spot known for some of the best cocktails in town. They also serve up tasty bar snacks and host an in-house Italian pop-up dinner once a month. Doar Bros. Funnily enough, one of the most popular items on the menu is popcorn, but not just any popcorn. It's brown butter popcorn with truffle, Parmigiano Reggiano, and chives, which is hilarious because that shares the menu with dishes like a $60 caviar service, chilled leek and potato soup, and whipped ricotta. So yeah, this is definitely an interesting spot. But here, it's all about the drinks. With rotating menu cocktails like Lo-Fi Beats, featuring gin, beets, raspberry, lemon, and a hint of cacao yogurt foam, or the refreshing Vicky Valancourt, made with tequila, creme de cassis, cashew milk, ginger, rosemary, lime, and cayenne. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, they do this awesome once-a-month Italian night with a special food menu. The bar team serves up Italian favorites too, like Negronis, spritz, hand-picked wines, and a featured cocktail. Next up, we've got a brewery and taproom restaurant with an all-day casual food menu with 20 house-brewed beers on tap, plus wine and cocktails. They also have plenty of outdoor seating options, whether you want to chill on a patio, hang out in the expansive courtyard, or relax on an AstroTurf field. Edmund's Oast Brewing Co. This roomy brewery is perfect for bringing the whole family or a big group of friends. And with all the TVs around, you can catch the game and conveniently avoid the small talk. For brews, you could try their Lord Proprietor's Mild, which combines Charleston tea with an English-style mild, featuring notes of tea, coffee, cacao, and caramel. Or their Apple Cider Donuts brew, with the sweet aroma of spiced cider donuts, a pure fall vibe. They're always rolling out creative new brews, so it's worth stopping by whether you're in a mood for something super strong, a fun fruity beer, or a refreshing sour or seltzer. And just down the street, you'll find their sister spot, simply named Edmund's Oast, a restaurant and brew pub known for standout cocktails, food, funky wines, and rare finds on tap. The peninsula where Charleston resides has tons of bars to choose from, so for the last two spots, I'm mixing it up and suggesting some cool places just west of the city. First up is a divey tavern with lots of booze, tasty bar food, and games like pool and foosball. Jeans. Since 1952, they've been one of the oldest bars around, making it the perfect spot for a night out with friends, cheap drinks, greasy food, and a lively, fun atmosphere. They've got all the bar games you could want: shuffleboard, board games, cards, darts, pool, even simulator games, plus plenty of TVs. This dive is a dream for beer lovers too, with a great lineup of draft beers and over 100 bottled and canned options from local craft brews to tasty imports. And lastly, across the creek, if you're looking for a similar no-frills vibe like Jeans, but with a bit more flair, this final spot offers plenty of outdoor space and a unique and vibrant setting. With amazing live music almost every day, you need to check out the Charleston Poorhouse. This spot nails that family-friendly vibe with awesome food, drinks, and a big, loud outdoor area. Their socials and website is exceptionally well organized, featuring a comprehensive list of events, markets, and live shows. It even tells you if they're free or not, and whether they're family friendly or just for adults. But it's not just a spot to grab a drink and catch a live band. There's so much happening out on a large deck that it honestly feels like a small town. They share the space with a couple of great food spots too, like Jack of Cups, which serves up delicious seasonally changed bites, and Kui Fei, offering authentic Szechuan Chinese eats in the building next door. It's not just a vacation destination for tourists either, it's where the locals like to go too. So expect a lot of people and just have fun. Well, that's a wrap on this one, and it feels so good to be back. I have a lot to say about places I visited this year, like Sydney, New York, even Calgary, and I'm excited to do my first ever sequel. With Denver being my most watched video, I think it's a no-brainer to make another guide about it. In the meantime, you can click the join button on my channel page where you can become a member and gain exclusive access to my Discord server. Not only will you be able to show support and help me create more awesome content, but you'll also have the opportunity to chat with me and other members of the community on Discord. Plus, you'll get to weigh in on what you want to see more of on this channel. Don't forget to like this video and comment which city I should do next down below.